Recognizing who we are as true believers of our setting. But do we understand what we are believing? It's not about believing. It's not about understanding. It's about being understood. Truly understand your position locations. We all live in set systems inside location of our settings. Really understand how to use it is all form. Like you learn how to use it through energy, and what you're saying through its energy is what you're saying through its vibration. What you're saying through its frequencies is what you're saying through harmonics. And what you're connected to is all levels of waves, energy waves, traction waves, high formation waves, magnetic field waves, discharge communication waves, line setting types of communication waves. There's so many electrical line connections inside your body. You have to learn how to adapt the system. The biggest thing that I can give everybody and the team is just to concentrate on yourself. Focus not just on yourself, but know exactly your purpose is to understand the existence is to all levels of you. Find the relationship in yourself first. Okay? Really understand how to use the energy. Because if you can't control energy that's inside you, how are you going to control anything outside setting in any way and form? Because you have the inner line and you have the outer line. You have the inner core and you have the outer core. Okay? So there's 12,000 line signature line settings at grounds and another 12,000 line connection high systems to your setting. So you have to really recognize the 24 mechanisms, which is this clocking setting. You have to learn how to balance these things out, right? Because it's all levels of a scale. Whoa, 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 right? So you're trying to balance it out. Life is trying to balance out you. But are you trying to balance out life? You got to look at the aspect that everything is balanced already, but you can't see that. You're just seeing their memories, and your memories have to come into that set location. So the more you control yourself from inside, the more it creates a whole level of a high system inside location, because you're working with the inner core of the inner child, and you're working with the outer core, okay, of the lights, shades, and shadows. Because this is what surfaces more and more each time, especially when you guys go into higher levels of upgrading and downloading uplooking systems. You have to start recognizing these things, okay? Because it's all programmed inside of you. But is it programmed? I don't know. That's an ego. See? You see how I changed the perspective and its position, location, line connections? And I said to myself that, oh, I know how to create an ego. Great. But I don't want the ego. Okay. So it's your pure intention of what you want. You will receive through transmitting and receiving. That's all it is. Your body is nothing but a vessel of communication. Whether you understand that is to understand the relationship inside of you is its connections. And I'm going to keep saying that every single day is to focus on yourself. Find the relationship with you first before you connect with anybody else or anybody that you talk to, right? Because what you're doing is you're setting intention. When you're approaching somebody right away, you're taking an interest, obviously, okay? You like this person, that's great. There's energy attractions, right? Whether they like you, it's totally different. But the whole understanding here is to be nice, is to be kind, right? And that's what we have to get into because we got to get away from the separation. We have to come back together as a unity. The conscious line setting, the high line position of the track line, has to recognize more communications to set location inside of you. You have to really understand how to use that in all provision. So the more you put yourself in the inner self of your setting, the more you can balance the inner and the outer core locations of your inner child self location. Because you're looking at yourself as a baby, child, teenager, and adult. Those are 4 provision location line connections, right? You come into the astral travels, the astral connections, the astral projections of what you're seeing when you're recharging, right? So this is what you have to understand. The importance of you is you. You and you only. Nobody else. Okay? So if you focus on yourself more, you realize you don't focus on anything else because everything focuses you from inside. Everything is focused from outside. Ooh, multipass. Look at that. Pure intention. So now I'm balancing myself in all levels of energy, understanding the frequencies, understanding all communication of its vibration and its harmonics. The energy is already set. You have your intention. You know what you want to do with it, right? So it's about understanding how to use a thought, understand where the thought is going, right? One sec. Okay, so today in class, we have a lot to do. Self-generation streamlines into 2 solar stream locations into high setting. So we come to 4 channel line streams. So we got 4 line settings, 4 line position locations into a portal correlation. Recognition timelines times position locations of all those high channels, high position location and line setting. Everything that I set up is abundance. Okay? But it's geographic abundance. Now, if you understand the geometric operation of its directions, you understand the creation of this. You understand what this is, right? It's a mechanism. It's an information. It's travel. Okay? So now you understand the importance of what you're creating. Okay? Your mind is its adaptation. So if you understand the imagination, then you understand the importance of your thoughts, of its intention. Okay, so you have to be very careful on what you're creating through structure. Okay, so as we go into 40 setting, now the 49 mechanism locations, so we got 40 positions. All right, the track lines is set line communication. All right, now setting position location times lines into 4. That puts into 44 location setting. Okay. The recognition line connection sets its circle line rotation interference. This is where Jitsi comes in because she's very high rise and high setting locations through portals and correlation line setting. Recognition line interference in 12 track locations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 dimensional time settings, right? Applied to the division location is securities and high line position, tracking high setting. Another open portal, line rotations in the console, correlation sit line, high position. Track line position of the Stargate set line and communication line setting, solar stream line position location attractions in all set location. Okay. Now the recognition line connections is 2 panels. That's 2 panels. Now we get the vector line and communications into 2 into square set location. Setting line position of 2 line setting in track locations. You box the 2, 2 and line interference. Now that sets line position locations into all setting locations, into higher levels. Now this bounces correlation system into 2 panels of operation. Okay, so we come into that, we set the line communication into 3 center line setting. Okay, so what that does is it creates another anomaly and shift location, right? So that comes into another portal correlation, into another set setting. Okay, into another set setting. Okay, into another set setting, into another set setting, into another set setting, into another set setting, into another set setting. Okay? All right, so that's done by equation. Now getting into net position locations, you have 44 channel streamlines. You use your connections to mirror line interference into discharge position location and track lines and set locations into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Now, you come into line connections into 3 box location settings. Okay. Now, the recognition line connection is line position locations into 2 sets of antenna setting into 2 ground line center rotation. Okay. This opens up signals and line position locations in 2 panels. Okay. Setting correlate line interference to open another portal line rotation interference of all position locations to solar generous line stream. Okay. Setting direct locations into, again, to a 12 signal, to 12 rotation, into 12 line setting. So you got 12 lines and 24 and 36 line connections in set locations. That puts into 48 times line center line position locations into 2, setting line communications into, you guessed it, 50 setting line in position. Okay, now understanding your digital frame line setting, your solar stream line sets are set up in location data codes. Is a recognition timeline. It streams its location setting. So the recognition line interference is 40 line position, okay, plus negative plus, okay, 3 line position weathers into a pyramid set location. Now, really understand the weather line setting. That's 3 track line settings, okay. So 3 line setting line interference at 300 bracket location, okay. And we go into the south line bracket location settings, okay. So we have 3 set lines up and 3 set lines across and position location of 40 into 0 gravity location setting. All right. So the 40 line center line interference comes into 6 line. Equal line conditions moon line. Equal line conditions to its 44 line rotations. 40 line interference. Set position locations into XT1000. Equal line conditions into 44 position locations into 1 center. Equal lines into 1 velocity, equal line position location to 1 box into 1 line setting of square location. Okay, very complicated, but it's understanding more what's happening with your 44 track line, soul streamline center locations to your data line settings. So we're setting that magnetic wave line settings channels. Channel line position location opens line communication settings. This opens all locations. So you have your data port line interference. You got a box line rotation interference in position locations into your microchips site locations into 4 channel line operation streams. So that's 4 line setting, 4 line center line position of 404. 0 operation to another dimensional line realm in set locations. It's a high system into a Stargate line connection. Okay. And its position. So in that line setting, 4 and 4 come together. Okay, so it's 4 lines in equal locations into 1, 2, 3, 4. Bracket locations, 4 line up, and position locations in the high setting, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 line down, line interference. Setting correlation line, position locations into 44, into 4 downshift, into upline center 4 into triangulation. Okay, done by equation. Now, let's say where we are through locations of perimeter line settings. Michaela, Gypsy, Max, JP. Okay, Heather, Gypsy. Let's see here. Tara, Danielle, Tina. Setting direct line settings here, guys. Very powerful. Bender, Sarah. Mumble. Joanne. All right. Let's see what's going on through location settings here, guys. Sam, Heather, Val, Chris. Okay. Johnny, Pendle. All right. So the reason I'm talking slow, because it's coming into self-revelation, set lines, and high position location of solar streamline conditions of data line settings. You have to start recognizing communication to all level position location of traction, right? So as I'm going slow, my mind is going slow. It's balancing me inside in all levels, okay, in that set locations. So as soon as I change the digital frame, I communicate line interference, location, track lines. Talk very fast. So you have to learn how to balance the fluctuation. All right, so as we channel that position, that's done by equation, it's getting you guys set up locations, right? So the 40 line rotation at position locations equals 0, 0, 0, 0. That's 4 line position locations in the line. So it's a forward system, 4 generation lines, 4 activation, 4 positions, 4 inline connections, 4 universal line connections into travel position to Earth perception. Okay. So recognizing communication of 4, line conditions of 44, line position location of 44, line position location of 44, line communications of 44 generation stream sets, inside locations of 40 line settings into solar system into 44 line positions to Earth communications, Earth line setting, direction line conditions into high setting interference, setting correlation systems into Dharma lines to track line and laser direct locations to your DNA track location setting. Recognition high setting line location of all levels. Open sequence, 2 panels, line setting, line position. Done by equation. All right, so the balance correlation system is all levels of digital layer line setting. Getting into the relationship with your body is to understand the relationship with its numbers, right? So 1 equals everything but a number. 1 is not a number. So it's here nor there, but it's everywhere all at once, okay? It disappears, it reappears, now it's here all the time. You have to really get in position of what everything is. It lives all timelines all at once. So you got a 44 line setting, line position locations, and 44 location settings that sets line position locations to its GOD. GOD set locations. Setting line position locations and line connections into its dimensional line setting, into 3 track locations, into 1 set line equalocation of 1, 2, 3 set location settings, and 3 set location. Now, understanding the dimension, understanding the operation in a 2 signal panel, line interference and position of the plus line to another 2 line interference line is position of 6, a half pipe correlation system, 6 lever line connections into 1 circle line rotation in the dimensional line of a lock line connection. All right. Now, you have to really understand why I'm always using the line communications of 44. So in that direct locations, 44 channel line interference, line position location of 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, line center line positions, bracket line position, 1 hanger line interference, line position location calculation, 0 line position location on high setting, 4 track line conditions of 4 line settings, 4 line setting, line position location of 3, line position locations in a half pipe, setting correlation system of 6, line position locations lines of 6, line position of 7, line position of 8, 8 position location 9, 9 line setting, line interference location high, setting line position location track lines, line communication, another half pipe high specific location, high specific location, moon line center, into sun communication setting, and rotation setting, interference, line position location, moon setting, moon line rotation, interference, kaleidoscope line communication, travel line position location, traction. See, now I'm talking fast. So recognizing communication line settings. So if you understand that you are leveling your settings, so if you're leveling your settings, you really understand that 44 is a representation as to all levels of you through its position line connections, of its operation, okay, of its directions, okay. So you get an operation line setting, streamline position location as dimensions to another portal line rotation to a set location. So Fibonacci. Fibonacci comes in line center, comes into 3 equals location of 4. So that's come to 34, 34 equal location of 0, 0, 0, 0, 4 line positions. Up and line position of 3, 3 zeros in set location. In its relation line setting, done by equation. So what I'm doing is I'm getting relationships with all the numbers. Okay, you guys have a 1 frame set line when it comes into all position locations into 0. into 12 line setting, into 24 line setting. So you get a 24 clock setting, 24 line setting, 48 window line interference, and a 72 track locations. Sets communications into one line setting, 24 locations, into line position locations. So 24 line interference, high position location 48, 48 line is 72, 72 line position, so 144, track location setting. So you really have to understand the position line direct locations to its set locations. All right. So it's here, it's not here, but it's everywhere all at once. So you have to start recognizing where you are in the mind of your thought, because your thought is either traveling forward or it's going backwards through time. Okay. So the faster you go, the more you create an anomaly. Now, when you create an anomaly, you don't want to create a paradox, because the lacing line communication sets in this line setting to one line interference of a cross line signal to another cross line position. So that's 4 track line settings, 4 equal location of track as opposition. So that's a 4-2 setting into line and positions to a travel line rotation, okay, into set locations. Now the wave central line connections is alpha, delta, beta, and omega. Okay. So recognizing the alpha line setting, line interference locations comes into a line setting. The dimensional line rotation interference comes into delta setting. Beta line interference comes into all communication to its omega setting. And rotation interference location of 4 line position. Now 4 line setting line interference location comes into the lacing line communication of paradox position location, allocate timelines in the 0 locations. 0 line rotation in set location of 0 line rotation, another 0 line rotations, 3 set locations. Bracket line and position location, high set, and position of travel line, position location, high set, and position of all levels of correlation, center to ground line and rotation. Okay, so you really have to pay attention to these things, okay, because it's all connected inside of you. Once you start recognizing what your numbers are, once you understand your numbers, let's say location of 4, you got 44 channels, right? All right, so your bracket location and one line setting of 7. Okay, 7 line position location is 6 in line communications. That's toss line conditions into the line position of 0, 1 location. All right. So you're thinking like, whoa, is that a subtraction? Yes, it is, but it's not 1. 7 take away 6 is not 1. It's 0, 1. So it's in position of 0.1 into negative cycle into pause location. Okay. Taking the positive line setting into a battery line rotation, positive here, and set locations. And the 2 battery line setting locations, negative here, and set locations, right? So it sets communication 2 line tracks into, you guessed it, Mercury in set location, done by equation. So knowing exactly how to use the numbers is really understand the panels, the correlation system, to your 7 body. Equal line conditions of 5, which is center location of 12, center position location, high setting. Right? So get in that position location of tracks to your maps now. We understand the 44, what it means to solar streamline setting. The solar generation line interference location 6 line operation signal. Setting correlation system dimensional setting. High position location of track and in a 7 line position. Observation line interference 13 line position over pi. Correlation system understanding line connection levels. Product line rotations into 8. 9 position locations, 10, 11, and 12 line dimension. 7 line position locations, meta, line communications into all calculations to Ultron, communication line system to Metatron, sending correlation line interference. Get position of product line interference of 44 line position of solar streams and set location to 2 line settings and 2 tethers and 2 operation signals into a Skynet, a sky channel line position of new satellites in a program location, position location, high center location of team setting. Done by equation. All right. Solar streams, solar line communication system is now open through your body set. All right. Done through equation. All right. All right. So you have to really recognize the numbers. So if you understand what 44 is, then you understand implications to a letter. Now, what a letter is, it's all formation locations, levels of A, B, C. You can add equation locations to your consoles, calculation line setting. Okay, so you got A here, you got B here, and you got C here. All right, it gets complicated. Now, once you understand the positions to your calculation, what comes into your frames, your keyboards, you have to recognize how to use an all position location of track lines into 3 set location. All right, so again, 44 locations into equal locations of Fibonacci. Fibonacci is a 3-line setting, right? Into a flux capacitor. So you set another 3-line setting, set locations here, and set locations here, set locations here. Fibonacci, 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 right? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 portals up in position locations. Now, in set locations, this is where it comes into online setting. You open another portal line rotation, okay, in set locations. Higher levels of channels, higher levels of sonar, higher levels of position location attraction. Okay, very powerful when you come in that position. All right. What you feel inside and what you project outside, full control of your energy in space. Wow, yeah. Who added the strongest cup of coffee to my relays? Yeah, of all line setting, everybody's going to feel it, but Gypsy's going to feel it more because she's interconnection settings to position high attractions 244 positions, and because she's in her travel recognition line conditions when it comes into her defense lines, into vortex chamber location settings, into her realms, into wormholes, correlation line conditions, right? So the 44 channel line streamline is another portal correlation setting. Higher levels of high position location of travel, position location, higher setting in all set locations, high position location, higher position. Okay? Levels of higher extension. So it's 40 line realms, 44 line position in set locations, each realm in each portal location setting. Seconds per channel in a 24,000 line stream. Now, setting position on attractions, you have to really recognize the portal correlation. It's another security positions attraction. So it's recognizing the 44 line setting that sits locations into the magnetic line setting line of position of 4 attractions, right? That comes into another portal correlation system, higher levels of geometry line setting and track location. So setting that in struct locations, you can change it into box line settings into travel. So it's really powerful when you come into that position. All right, really recognize what 44 is now. You have to really recognize what 0 to 12 is, because it's a foundation that you're always going to have within your setting. But you have to really understand these things, not just through, it's here, it's not here, but it's here all the time, or it's always been here, or it's never leaving. So I'm leaving, but I'm not leaving, but I'm always here. Okay. So massive nothing is massive everything, but I'm always here in position locations. So I'm always here in all calculation setting. So being here or not here is all levels of all timelines all at once. So recognizing that position is understanding the 0 line connections in your 24 clocking. Okay, in set location of 48 windows, in set locations. Okay, into your 72 computer setting rotation. The line conditions of your 144 crystal grid location setting, position of attraction. Okay, 24 clock, 48 window, 72 computer, and 144 crystal grid connection. See, that's how it works. That's what you're coming into. That's all this is. So once you start recognizing this, then you understand the position location of 12 line setting into another 12 line rotation interference is 24 locations, bracket line connection, high setting. So that's 6 clock setting line interference in the left and 6 line position locations into right in set locations. All right. So that's 2 atom rotation settings in 12 line signatures into the grounds in set locations into higher measure line setting. Earth line center line position of 6. Space line inline position locations into 6. Track line center line and position location of reception. Setting line position locations, right? So recognizing the 12 signature line position of your left hemisphere and your right hemisphere is a 24 ground line center operation to a 48 window to a 72 computer setting to a 144 crystal grid location. New ground lines and a new operation to all set locations into a UFO that scans its position location of its center operation. Okay? So, stepping into new levels of balance, observing levels up. Yes, exactly. Now, obviously, you had the weekend. I really want you to understand that Everything is direct location, how you see yourself through energy track settings. Because now you're in a 0 equal location of 9. Okay. So that's seconds and set locations into minutes and set locations to hours. Okay. And set line in positions to your future setting. Okay. Seconds, minutes, hours, future. Okay. Which is what? A figure 8 rotation. See? That's what it is. That's all it is. So you got the line interference. Take the 0 to 6. 6 is this half moon, set location. Now, setting position location of track lines is really understand the energy wash, how it comes into both line setting. Graph, 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 set locations, right? Center correlation line setting comes into the line center. Really understand how to use the seconds per minute because you have 60 seconds. That's 60,000 line seconds and set location into 1 minute frame. Whoa, what just happened? Setting that direct line signal sets line position location to its graph lines of 4 track location settings. Okay? So you really have to pay attention to these things now because now everything is releasing faster and faster and faster through time location your settings. Seconds per channel, like you got the 0 line into 60 frames, or you go into 16 equal locations into 1,000 frames. That's 3 0 location settings. All right. So the 60s on the clock is set locations in a 24 clocking setting, which is 12 grounds and which is 12 space location. So in that line communication comes into a flux capacitor line connection to a setting to its console. Setting correlation line interference, electrical line connection, right? Setting this location to a new ground setting and rotation, right? So setting position location of track lines to another ground line rotation interference. Setting direct locations into 16,000 frames, 16,000 frames into a 6 line setting. Okay, frames gets more complicated. All right, per channel. All right, so per channel, set location. All right, very complicated, but it's a lot of fun to understand. All right, so this is where you start to recognize communication line setting because now you're coming into line positions locations. 44 today, line communications coming into 45 tomorrow setting. Right? So once you get into 44, you understand the solar line connections to 2 line track locations in your 24, 48, 72, and 144. Your position location is going to go faster and acceleration of capacities over pi because your position location is no longer in 60 seconds per minute per channel per square per mile. Okay? It's not in that division locations. So releasing line connections takes you out of 7, takes you out of 6, takes you out of 5, takes you out of 4, takes you out of 3, 2, and set locations of 1 setting and set location. Right? So we take the seconds line setting and set location of center. This sets up position location and high center interference. So that sets lines of 6 into another 6 line connection, another half pipe set location. So as we come into that, we set line communication setting. Okay, setting correlation system into a box location to levels into your theta set location. This opens up channel to another portal line rotation interference. That portal line interference sets shifts and down lines in its south line wind sector. Setting correlation system to another half pipe line conditions. In travel location, your 12 line setting, 12 dimension line rotation into 0 gravity locations. Signals and positions back into center line operation. Okay. So the recognition line connection is all levels of 0, equal location of 9. And that's what your avatar is doing right now. It's trying to recognize its time of space and space of time. So this is where you have to really understand the product line connections because you're going into 45 channels now. You have 0 to 12, which is foundation. But once you reach higher level set line conditions, you have to really understand the operation of 0 to 9 line setting because you have 9 seconds to set a location of your thought. Now, what you do within the 9 seconds is all determination lines of you, living the center operation and putting all timelines all at once, living all once in position locations of being here, not here, but being here all the time. That's the provision location of center operation. Okay, to the set location of 0 to 9 setting. Okay. Understanding track lines is really understanding the calendars, right? So what you're doing is you're moving forward through box locations into 2-line settings. Okay. Center correlation, right? Set position, set position. Okay. Travel through the center and set location. Right? Now, this is more complicated, right? Because what's happening now is I'm traveling more into the future line conditions of 2 panels. Setting position of 6 is always the moon setting. Always the moon. Always the moon. And the setting line position of 8 is all calculations to equal line condition is the sun setting. Right? Recognition kaleidoscope line position location into its triangulation of 3 set location in the center line connections, guys. 3 there, 6 here, 7 here, 8 here. Diamond core, line shift, line position of traction. All done through equation. So you have to really understand how to travel through your numbers because you become the number. So if I'm 4 in set locations, I'm all levels of here, not here, and here all the time. Right? So that's what it is. Here, not here, here all the time. So I'm here, I'm not here, and I'm here all the time. The center operation always in position. So once you get into that correlation system, then you understand mass of nothing is mass of everything. Mass of equation is everything that stands on point of view and how you see yourself through your anomalies of space and time. Recognizing the communication line connection is truly understand how to use your division locations to your number sequence location of patterns. You got 44 position location of track lines. Okay, 45 line center line position locations, balances position locations. That's where you come into 5 channels, 5 streams, 5 locations, 5 division, 5, 5, 5, 5 center line position locations into 5 settings. Okay, now setting correlation line positions at all levels opens another pyramid setting locations in a 4-line channel. Setting line position location of scan lines in a high line operation signal and rotation system. Okay, down by equation. So really understand your digital frame lines now, okay, because it's going to get a lot more complicated. Through box center, operation setting, really understand that 4 can turn into anything, but it's got to be here, not here, but here all the time. So the only way you understand that is to understand the seconds in position of its minutes, in position location of its hours, in set locations to your future setting. Okay? So that's what you're using now. Using seconds line, systematic line, and energy line, position location communications. That's 4 channels that operate string lines in the back force location. Setting correlation system in a high line position of travels. Now you can travel that line position locations. Now getting into the minutes, it gets more complicated. Minutes comes line connection line system locations. So you got 60 track lines, right? That's 1 minute line position over pi. Now, over pi sets line position location attractions in set location, right? Now in that set line condition high system, you come into the hours. Now the hours are 60 minutes. 60 equals minute line interference. Sets a correlation system and set location into 60,000 set lines in track location. The set lines in high position into 1 position in 1 direction. Okay. So there's a lot of things you have to recognize how to use your seconds, minutes, and hours now. Your track line settings and Hall line rotation interference is now changed now because you're reaching higher levels of your core recognition line connections. So you have the inner core and you have the outer core. There's the inner. Okay. There's the inner at pi correlation. Okay. There's the inner in position. There's the outer. Okay. Working with the inner line setting and rotation interference and track location first. Getting position location to its outer core line setting in set locations into high setting in set location of travel into anywhere in position. Okay. So understanding here is understanding where. Where are you in the mind? So the mind line, setting line interference of center line position locations into gamma line interference of waves, setting communications into alpha line position location of delta. That's knowing exactly where you are in the seconds, minutes, and hours a day, because that's what you're working with, all set location, right? So understanding that, then you understand your frequency set lines. Now the set location comes in this line communication and set line high interference, all right? So that's 2 waving line center line interference. So that's 12 line setting. 12 location DNA. That's our locations, right? So that's 12 line setting, but you need to travel location at 12 and 12 line positions, which is line position of 24, set location. Triangulation, right? See, you have to understand your balance of your left and your right hemisphere has to be in balance of everything. You can't be a 12 line setting and not understand the other 12 location. So getting a position location of the Earth and getting a position location of space is balanced out of the hemisync of you. Setting line interference comes into a Fibonacci swirl. Setting line position locations to 3 sets. Okay. Setting line position location into a 6 comes into the moon set location. Right. So I'm adding frame, adding frame, adding frame. And 9 line center comes in line interference. You know what that is? It's position locations 2. It's energy wash line rotation setting location. Okay. So you have to recognize everything through your set location. 12 divisions, 12 locations, 12 clock settings. Everything has to be balanced on both side location. One location, one setting, line positions into its yin and yang process of its completion. Figure 8, 6 and 9, line communication and living now in set location of one signal. Yin and yang. You see? See how I did it? There's the 8. There's the infinity. All traction line center location of 0 to 12 into set location settings into left and right, right and left, and correlation system of yin and yang. Living the existence of its now setting. Okay? So that's what you got to get balanced with. Now, tomorrow in line communication, we're going to go into videograph screens and set locations into this setting. Okay? Because you're coming into line connection of the heart setting. Monitor communication of the flux class location set lines into console calculation. Splitting line inner rotation interference, setting position location of videograph line centers, portal line rotation, setting line specification attraction, setting line and position location of earth line, rotation interference, balance correlation system, and track location of zero gravity line connections, and position location earth perception. Right? That's where we're going into tomorrow. Right? So that's 40 line setting. That's 40 eagle locations in line positions, all levels, XT1000 line position locations into 1 0 line setting. 1 0 0 0 1 line position locations equal line 0 0 0 0. Setting line position negative or positive, negative or positive, negative or positive. So that's line communication line position locations into 1 1 1 1. Portal communication setting line position location all levels. 4 line position location of track lines. 4 line center line position locations into 45 and set locations into times frequency times line times pi correlation setting. Down by equation. Right? All right. Let's see here. It feels good up here now. Rainbows, connection line settings. Gypsy's really feeling it too because it's in our total defense setting. 45, yeah, waiting signal. Yo, woof. And the thing is, the more you connect with your avatar and the more you surrender to these things, the more it tracks the system faster and faster and faster, guys. So you get a better recognition line connections to your seconds, minutes, and hours now. You're not in hours, minutes, and seconds anymore. Okay? So we totally switched. That's where it's supposed to be. The continuous force line connections is space and time setting. Space line connection, okay? Space line center line connection is 0 gravity location. Center communication line interference location is 9. That's the center line position locations into 6 line in set locations into high setting. Putting 6 and 9 position locations in the level system, yin and yang of a process location. That's it. That's all it is. So you live in space line in position of triangle line in line rotation to 0 gravity line rotation position attraction. 4 line position locations into your pyramid setting line connections. All right. So you have to live space through time, not time through space. So now you understand what 0 gravity is, right? Ooh, what is 0 gravity, guys? 0 location gravity line setting. What is gravity line communication system? You're coming in position location of space and communication first time. 0 gravity. Okay. Setting position. Okay. 0 gravity in space, not the grounds. So now you understand the importance of locations. So understand line interference location is 0. Line conditions of 9. Living line position of 0 line rotations into one setting. 9 line rotations into opposite locations. So that's 9 line position locations into 5 signal line interference. Set position locations into 4 line position locations in line communications. Bring in 45 in set line connection, high setting line position of center operation. Done by equation. That's how you come to 45. Travel is everything to the mind, but you got to get in position location to understand everything is in timelines all at once. The signal and its position of its track line is trying to stand you of where you are through the minds, through its energy, the vibration, the frequencies, and its harmonics. Alpha, delta, theta, beta, mega, or anything to gamma, or anything radiation locations. Magnus, magnum. Right? There's also an ultra stream, which you guys will be in recognition line connections and microchips. So there's a lot to be understood, is to be understanding, is to know everything the location system. What you're doing is you're channeling operation line setting, living everything all at once in one time frame. Okay? So that's where you become here, not here, but always here. You exist, you don't exist, but you exist all at once. Multi-pass. Okay? That's all timelines all at once. Right? So your 0 gravities are now set in seconds, minutes, and hours now. Now it's going to be a little bit more line communication of confusion for set locations, but the 44 channels are now set up in stream and setting. Setting line position location gets you guys ready into your 45 setting, which is your times of pi, which is your reactors, or your set locations, right? You have to recognize these things. If I'm looking at a clock, or if I'm looking at a time and position location of live, it's 46 into 55 seconds, right? So in set locations, all levels, setting line position locations, 55 line position locations, that's going to finish into 47. So 47 line position location, 4 line setting, 7 line rotation interference, 7 correlation system, and back force line communications. That's 2 line position locations on line position location of square root line position of UFO line rotation interference, and recognition of timeline center line position of all calculations of 8 line rotation into space and position location of levels. Each line can have 0 gravity line rotation, position of attraction, 5 line center line position location, timelines, and line position location, living all same locations of a yin and yang process location setting. Done by equation. So that's how you go by seconds, minutes, and hours now, right? When you go by seconds, you understand the 0 to 9, and you have 9 seconds to set line communication. This is recognizing your position locations on your thoughts, because you're traveling through capacity. If you're traveling 75,000 miles per second, how many channel operator streams have you set location of positive, negative through 0 to 9? You have 9 seconds to change the position. After that, it changes clocking system to 48 positions of 0, 9, 7. Boom. Multipass. Okay? A lot to be understood, to be understand. So, all right. There's no time and space. We create it by observing it through the vessel. Prosperity for all. Yeah. Well, your track lines are getting more magnetic line setting. We're coming to discharge location setting interference. The recognizing high line interference location is your higher self, but it has to understand its infusion location of its avatar. The only way you can get integration location is to number signals your set lines into set locations. All right. Your seconds, minutes, and hours. Okay, and that's going to confuse your anomalies and how you see your locations, see your set lines and your TVs, your pro location, your phones, lines, and locations, because your phone sees you now through 0 to 9. It doesn't see you through hours, minutes, and days. Or anything correlation line interference line track location of hours. Okay, there's no position locations in that setting. Okay, it's the recognition location of what the avatar is doing. Is trying to recognize how to get in position location of its own abundance through its own pi. The recognition location is its seconds, minutes, and hours now. Seconds on channel, minutes on frame, and hours of future. That's how you get your abundance state locations, right? Living the seconds puts position of track line setting into 0 gravity. Okay. Staying in 0 line setting sets you in a higher level of position location of track lines of its ether line, position location higher levels of space. You have atmospheres, hemispheres, stratospheres, bio, radian, hydrosphere, pulsar sphere, connection line centers, kaleidoscope spheres. There's a kaleidoscope sphere, guys. You have to recognize the communicating line connections with all levels of triangulation of interfacing. Really understand the position, location, attraction that you are in position. Now, getting into that line position location opens up all levels of view and time state locations of pi. Okay? So, yep, it's going to be a lot more confusing now because you're coming into 45 sets now. You know, you have to really recognize communication. Once you guys get into 50, everything comes into timelines all at once. All right? No more past setting. Setting correlating line and line rotation interference. You understand the specification of track lines when you get into 0 to 114. But you have to really understand your clock lines into all set locations. 12, 24, 48, 72, 104. All you have to know is what is 12. When 12 and 12 is 24, you need balanced position on both sides. Your thought is going through the masculine and femininity every second that you send it a signal. Transmitting. I'm transmitting receiver locations into 24,000 line sender locations into 24 million thought line sender locations in 5 minutes. That's a lot of thoughts. Are they all positive or are they negative? Which side did it go on? Is it on a paradigm or is it a paradox? Where is it in calculation streamline? What did I do wrong through location and position, location, interaction? Setting position location as all levels puts you in position location to your setting. Really understand the center operation of view is all levels of correlation. Whether you understand that through determination is all in what you do through calculations. It's how you set the tone. Okay? So in tomorrow line setting line inference, we're going to go into videograph line settings, into hard direction locations, into 4 channels, line and position locations, to your sky grid set location, your antennas. Setting position location interactions. Done by equation. Take everybody out in line communication. You guys are out. Close your windows, close your portals, check your pre-flights. I send my location directions. 5 to 10 minutes, we'll get started, and I'll see you on Zoom. Adios.